So there's the race now. Is this a demonstration? Oh, here's this thing. Pratulio, you on camera?
Am I on camera?
Yeah.
Why are you putting on camera? Why are you talking to me while I'm saying?
But they can also have that on their phone wallet. You don't have to print. Here it is. Here, Mr. President. You see on this side. This is these are on the phone. So it's not even printed out.
So normally the PTA, this one is gonna expire 2026 to the travel is mutual. But normally when they enter, we give them 90 minutes.
Yes.
Each and every day. Passenger is
Look at that.
so normally we don't involve the
You don't need it.
we don't put the person in the passport. Automatically the system will send the email which confirms that they enter on this day, they stay until 10th November 2026.
There is one on the phone.
Okay, we are done.
Very fast, very good.
He's a celebrity today.
Very quick, very convenient. Very good.
Are you happy?
Yes,
Today you used it.
100% satisfied.
Your name, sir?
This is Frodo. I'm representing 3A condition. And we have been pulling South Africa for many years. And this ETA is very convenient for all of us and give us very convenient visit to South Africa. It's very good success.
Very good. Yeah, some dream. Where's Cyril?
Let's go.
Thank you very much to the Marimba Band, Power Rocker, for warming up the room this afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Oh, it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Sanbonani, Dumelang, Tobela, Khuyemore, Lochani, Khuyedach, Dimasiari, Abushini, Akensa. A warm welcome to all of you. There are some seats, if colleagues can take seats right at the front there. A warm welcome on this cold day in Gauteng. And once more, a big thank you to the Marimba Band for that wonderful performance. Okay. Can I just ask that we stand up for the national anthem? If we can just cue it up. Thank you very much. Please be seated. President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber, also a Member of Parliament, Minister of Tourism, Mme Patricia de Lille, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Njabulo Nzuza. I've also seen a number of MPs that are members of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Ruos, Commissioner of the Border Management Authority and CEO, Dr. Michael Masiapato, and all the BMA officials, the acting CEO of the Airports Company of South Africa, our partner, but also our landlord at this facility, Mr. Charles Shilowa, and senior officials of AXA, senior officials from the Department of Home Affairs, DDGs, acting CEO at the Government Printing Works, Mr. Sihle Ngubane, part of our ecosystem, Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, our partner, Mr. Johnston Makubu, and a number of executives that have joined us from SARS, Chairperson of the Immigration Advisory Board and former DG at the Department of Home Affairs, Ntate Mavuso Msimang, who also played quite a crucial role as leader of Operation Vulindlela in the presidency, the work that they were doing on the comprehensive review of the visa system, together with colleagues that have joined us. The interim CEO of SA Tourism, Mr. Sichaba Mutsielwa, the Chief Executive Officer of the Board of Airlines, Mr. George Mutema, local and international media that has graced us. I'm actually delighted and very excited that we are all here today for the launch of the electronic travel authorization at OR Tambo International. Mr. President, Ministers, this marks a huge milestone for us in terms of our reform agenda. You will recall that in October 2025, just a few days ahead of South Africa hosting what will be described as the best G20, which was more inclusive, we piloted with the ETA, with a few countries that were selected. And of course, we always take advice from the Minister of Tourism. And of course, the Minister also had an opportunity to speak at the Business Council of South Africa's leadership conference and shared with the audience our plans on the ETA. We know, Mr. President, we know ministers and DM that all over the world, we know that the ability to attract skilled migrants is the hallmark of a modern, thriving economy. So, Mr. President, you announced the ETA on the 7th in your address to the nation as part of the initiatives in the 5-point plan on our comprehensive approach on managing migration. Of course, the ETA is a critical pillar of that. Without any waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, it is therefore my pleasure to invite the Commissioner of the BMA and CEO, Dr. Michael Masiapato, to officially welcome us to the launch of the ETA. And he has assured me, Mr. President, Mr. Minister, that I do not have to activate my stopwatch because the time is quite crucial. Over to you.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, the Minister of the Department of Home Affairs, who is also the Chairperson of the Interministerial Consultative Committee on Border Management, Dr. Leon Schreiber, the Minister of Tourism, Ms. Patricia de Lille, the Deputy Minister of the Department of Home Affairs, Mr. Njabulo Nzuza, the Whip of the Portfolio Committee responsible for Home Affairs, Ms. Malebu Mudise, the Chairperson of the Immigration Advisory Board, Mr. Mavuso Msimang, the Director General of the Department of Home Affairs, Mr. Tommy Makode, the Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, Dr. Johnston Makubu, the Chief Executive Officer of South African Tourism, Ms. Nombulelo Guliwe, the Chief Executive Officer Acting of Airports Company South Africa, Mr. Charles Shilowa, the Chief Executive Officer of the Board of Airline Representative for South Africa, Mr. George Mutema, the Acting CEO of the Government Printing Works, Mr. Ngubani, all the senior officials here present from the Border Management Authority, those that are from the Department of Home Affairs, those that are from the DPW, as well as those that are from the South African Revenue Service, as well as the rest of the colleagues present, members of the media, and of course, ladies and gentlemen. My task in this particular August occasion is to welcome all of yourselves who are fairly present in this particular sitting, which we consider as the launch of the ETA, which is the Electronic Traveler Authorization. On that particular basis, I want to confirm that I have been given all the mandate by the acting CEO of AXA, Mr. Charles Shilowa, to welcome all of you in this particular session. So, Mr. President, you are mostly welcomed in this particular session. We just want to indicate from a Border Management Authority side that this is one of the environment where we operate at in as far as the implementation of border management work is concerned. You will know, Mr. President, that we are operating at 71 ports of entry across the Republic. And of course, out of those 71, 10 of them are international airports. And of course, here is OR Tambo International Airport being one of those 10. And of course, we also operate at 9 seaports. We also operate at 52 land ports of entry. You will also remember, Mr. President, that we've been fairly given the mandate to manage the legitimate movement of people and goods in and out of the Republic. But more critically, we are fairly implementing a multiplicity of responsibilities ranging from immigration as well as health on issues of environmental biosecurity as well as agricultural biosecurity. We are also responsible broadly for what you will call overall law enforcement. So on that basis, Mr. President, we are very much glad that today we are launching the Electronic Traveler Authorization, which will give us the mandate, at least in the front end, to make sure that we are able to seamlessly process legitimate people to come through into the country. It will also enable us to counter an attempt for individuals that might be fugitives running from other jurisdictions from entering our country illegally. It will also assist us to deal with the issues of migration challenges that we have fairly seen in this particular jurisdiction, particularly the irregular aspect of it. So on that basis, we want to say everybody is welcomed, and we really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you very much.
At some point, Commissioner, my timer was starting to indicate that you're still within your allocated time. Thank you very much, Commissioner. So in the next 3 minutes, I therefore invite you on the 2 screens to watch a video that I will recommend Minister Delil that at every opportunity, this video should be shown, in particular if we attract tourists to this country. Thank you. Over to you, Lake.
South Africa has officially launched a new era of efficiency and security of travel. I'm Leon Schreiber, the Minister of Home Affairs for South Africa, here to introduce the Electronic Travel Authorization, or ETA, which makes traveling to our country faster and easier while using cutting-edge technology to make South Africa more secure. This is more than a digital visa. It is the foundation of a new digital immigration system that proves we do not have to choose between better service delivery and stronger security. We are delivering both. It all begins before you even leave home. The ETA brings the travel authorization process directly to you, wherever you are in the world. Simply visit the ETA platform at eta.dha.gov.za and begin your application online. No embassy visit, no paperwork, no standing in a queue. A process that used to depend on paperwork is now digital from start to finish. Create your secure profile, enter your details and verify your information. The process is simple for the traveler, but behind that simplicity is a powerful new security system. Using your mobile device, securely scan your passport and complete a quick biometric selfie. Advanced biometric technology verifies that you are who you say you are, while machine learning helps identify fraud and risk before a traveler even reaches our shores. Once approved, your ETA is available digitally on your device. Save it to your mobile wallet and you are ready to travel. No paperwork to carry. Your secure digital journey to South Africa has already begun. The same secure digital identity created at home now travels with you all the way to beautiful South Africa. When you arrive, the experience is just as seamless. Present your ETA and complete a quick biometric verification. Within moments, your identity is securely matched against the information already captured by the system. Faster for legitimate travelers, stronger against fraud and abuse. Welcome to South Africa. And the ETA does not stop working once you have arrived. If you are eligible to extend your visitor's visa for another 90 days, you can do so through the same secure platform. No paperwork, no queues. And this is only the beginning. The ETA will progressively extend to additional visa categories as we build a fully digital immigration system. Travel to South Africa has never been easier or more secure.
Thank you very much, Lake. So, Minister, over to you for the translation into Mandarin, Spanish, and any other language. This is a must-have video. Thank you very much to the team. Mr. President, Ministers, DM Commissioners, CEOs, we all agree that the ETA forms a central pillar in the vision explained by the Minister of Home Affairs, in particular to deliver home affairs at home through digital transformation, of course, leveraging cutting-edge machine learning technology to digitize and automate visa processes. And of course, it's now my privilege to then invite the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber, for his remarks, and thereafter invite the President for the keynote address. Thank you.
Your Excellency, President Cyril Ramaphosa, Minister of Tourism, Ms. Patricia de Lille, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Njabula Nzuza, the Director General of Home Affairs, Mr. Tommy Makode, Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Michael Masiapato, Chairperson of the Immigration Advisory Board, Dr. Mavuso Msimang, Chief Executive Officer Acting of the Government Printing Works, Mr. Zihle Ngubane, Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, Mr. Johnston Makubu, the CEO of South African Tourism, Mr. Sechaba Motsiloa, the Acting Chief Executive Officer of Airports Company South Africa, Mr. Charles Shilowa, the Chief Executive Officer of the Board of Airline Representatives of South Africa, Mr. George Motema, members of the Executive Committee of Home Affairs and the Border Management Authority, members of the media, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Mr. President, it is my singular privilege to welcome you today to deliver the keynote address on this auspicious occasion as we launch South Africa's electronic travel authorization platform. That is not only because of the significance of the ETA as the flagship reform to modernize and digitally transform South Africa's visa and immigration system, but also because of the steadfast support you have offered to the Home Affairs ecosystem as we toiled away over the past 2 years to build this system. Thank you, Mr. President, for being here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, just over 2 years ago, we set out to fundamentally reform Home Affairs through our vision to harness technology in order to deliver Home Affairs at home. The central idea of this reform program is simple. In the digital age, you should not have to go to just a handful of physical locations and fill in paperwork to access our services. Instead, through the embrace of technology, our job is to bring secure Home Affairs services directly to you. Our reform program is anchored in 3 key pillars. The first is already transforming how South Africans access physical civics documents. Through our digital partnership with the banking sector, we are undertaking a major expansion of access to these Home Affairs services. Just 5 months since that project went live, over 400 bank branches across the country already offer fully digitalized smart ID replacement services through secure integration with Home Affairs. Over that same period, more than 500,000 South Africans have already used this service to replace a lost ID card or to replace a fraud-prone green ID book. They have done this without filling in any paperwork, without any prior bookings, without queues, and indeed without any scope for fraud or manipulation. By the end of this year, we will also add first-time smart ID applications, passport applications, and the option for home delivery to this system. The second pillar of our reform program is digital identity. This system will deliver on the pledge that you made, Mr. President, during the State of the Nation address to make digital versions of identity credentials available directly on citizens' smartphones. We are currently processing public comments received on the draft regulations to govern the digital ID system, while we also work towards developing the prototype. The third pillar, ladies and gentlemen, is the one we are here to launch today, which is set to revolutionize mobility and migration management in South Africa. Today's launch of the ETA represents a quantum leap forward for our country's immigration system, both by unlocking economic growth through tourism, investment, and legitimate travel, and by landing a decisive blow against visa fraud and illegal immigration. Mr. President, allow me to briefly introduce some of the ETA's key features on both the economic and security fronts. The process begins by a traveller registering a profile on the website eta.dha.gov.za, which includes one-time PIN verification of their cell phone number and email address. The traveller then scans their passport and uploads a selfie. Through biometric technology, our platform compares their passport photo to their facial photograph, confirming that they are the same person. The algorithm also automatically scans their passport, checking over 40 different parameters to verify that it is an authentic document. Once payment has been made, the ETA uses automated risk analysis to identify indicators of fraud or risk at a speed and scale that no human being could ever achieve. If the application is approved, the traveller will receive their ETA within 24 hours, which they can then store directly in the digital wallet on their smartphone. I think it's worth acknowledging the scale of the shift from those delays we've seen over so many years to something where we commit to turnaround time of 24 hours. Once an approved traveller arrives at the immigration counter, they are again required to look into a camera where biometric verification enables us to confirm that the person standing at our border is the same person who received authorization to travel to our country. To enable this functionality upon arrival, the Border Management Authority, in collaboration with the South African Revenue Service, has upgraded the electronic movement control system to create what we call EMCS 2.0 at the international airports. Unlike the BMA's previous movement control system, EMCS 2.0 is biometrically enabled to use facial verification to determine whether a traveller may enter the country, eliminating the scope for criminals or for fraud to use fraudulent passports or visa papers. In other words, Mr. President, the face of the traveller becomes the key that determines whether they may enter, rather than a physical document which can be manipulated. This feature has also laid the foundation for us to significantly reduce immigration queues. Now, the dedicated ETA counters will already speed up processing. We just saw a demonstration where it took us about 40 or 50 seconds to process. But we now also need to link the ETA and EMCS 2.0 to electronic gates, or e-gates, which AXA already has. I would like to appreciate the collaboration that has now started between AXA, the BMA, Home Affairs, and SARS, and to really encourage the teams to urgently accelerate this work of integrating the ETA with the e-gates. This will eliminate the need for and the fraud associated with manual passport stamping, and enable us to use our new facial recognition capabilities to instantly process South African citizens and foreign travelers who use the ETA into the country without any delays. Additionally, the ETA provides us with the capability to detect overstayers in real time. When a person traveling on the ETA leaves the country, their face is again verified at the departure counter. If someone's face has not been recorded as exiting in time, they will receive direct communication from Home Affairs warning them that we know about them and that they are at risk of overstaying and prosecution. If that warning is not heeded, the security features of the ETA enable immigration enforcement steps to be taken. Importantly, ladies and gentlemen, none of this is hypothetical. All of these features are live in this airport and others as we speak. After we initially piloted the ETA during South Africa's historic G20 presidency for travelers from China, India, Indonesia, and Mexico. Since that small-scale pilot began, the ETA has already processed 216,204 applications. A few weeks ago, I came across a post on LinkedIn from one of these early adopters, an Indian entrepreneur who had recently visited South Africa for the very first time. He wrote on LinkedIn, and I quote, "Some journeys give you memories, others give you hope. My South Africa experience began with a delightful surprise. I applied for an ETA and received a one-year multiple entry visa in just 8 minutes." He went on to say that the ETA immigration counter at Cape Town International Airport took him less than 2 minutes to clear, describing it as, quote, "perhaps the smoothest travel experience I have ever had," end quote. The vastly enhanced security features of the ETA are just as important, however. 6,126 fraudulent applications have already been identified and rejected, including cases where people tried their luck with fraudulent passports, manipulated documents, and other indicators of fraud. That is the future of immigration in South Africa, a system that is modern and uncompromising when it comes to security, but welcoming and efficient when it comes to the travelers and investors that we must attract to generate growth and jobs. That is why the final component we built before today's launch, this one is especially for Minister de Lille, is the capability for legitimate travelers who enter South Africa for up to 90 days to apply through the ETA to extend their stay by a further 90 days as stipulated by the Immigration Act. This feature alone is likely to significantly boost tourism revenues as it enables lawful travelers to extend their stay without the hassle and bureaucracy of the past. During the next phase of work, the ETA will progressively become compulsory for short stay visits from countries that require port of entry visas to South Africa. At the same time, we will also make it accessible on a voluntary basis to visa-exempt travelers who choose to use the ETA for faster queues upon arrival or who want to easily extend by that additional up to 90 days. Over the coming weeks, we will inform the embassies of countries as they are systematically added into the ETA. The system will initially be available for travelers who arrive here at OR Tambo International Airport, as well as Cape Town, King Shaka, and Lanseria. With our airports now fully equipped, we turn our attention to land and sea ports over the coming months to roll out facial recognition and EMCS 2.0 at all ports of entry. But Mr. President, we are also not stopping there. The ETA is not designed to just be a digital visa for tourists or for short visits. Our aim is to turn it into the single entry point and the central platform for an end-to-end digital immigration system where all visa categories are processed through biometric and machine learning technology. This means that over the coming few months, we must expand the platform to also process more complex visa categories, including things like study visas, spousal visas, and work visas. By the time this work is complete, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa will have one of the most sophisticated, efficient, and secure digital visa and entry-exit systems anywhere in the world. Of that, there is no doubt. Mr. President, the ETA is the embodiment of our commitment to the vision of turning South Africa into a world leader in smart and secure migration management and digital government. On behalf of the entire Home Affairs ecosystem, it is my distinct honor to welcome you as our keynote speaker to officially launch South Africa's electronic travel authorization. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's be seated, please. How do I launch this? I thought I just press a button. Program Director, Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Tourism, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, and the Director General and the Commissioner of SARS, Mr. Simang, Mavusom Simang, who has been helping with all this, and all other officials here present. Would like to thank you for being present on this very cold day that has had Minister DeLille shivering throughout this whole demonstration. It's a real joy and a pleasure to have this opportunity. Earlier, we witnessed how, as we tested the electronic travel authorization system, how it was demonstrated when a passenger arrives. And I just saw the joy and the pleasure on the face of the first passenger that we tested. It was truly, truly, truly good because, every nation is known, as the minister was saying, that we're going to have the most electronic, the most modern system in the world, because every nation is known by the way it welcomes its visitors to its country. And that becomes something that stays in one's memory, because the first impression that a visitor forms of a country is often not at a hotel, not at a conference center, or not even at a game reserve. It is when they arrive. It begins at the border gate as they enter the country. It begins with whether the country projects itself as a welcoming country, whether it is efficient, whether it has security, but more importantly, how it treats the people who come to visit. In today's world, countries compete not only through the strength of their economies or the quality of their infrastructure. They compete through the ease with which people can visit the country, how people can come visit the country and invest, how they can come and trade and study and do business. This is how people remember countries that are friendly, that are welcoming. Today we are taking another important step in ensuring that South Africa competes with the best in the world. And we gather here at OR Tambo International, our country's busiest gateway, to launch South Africa's electronic travel authorization system. This is far more than the introduction of a new digital platform. It is actually a statement about the kind of country that we are building. It is about making South Africa more open to opportunity, more welcoming to legitimate travelers, more secure for our citizens, and more competitive in the global economy. With this type of system, we're positioning ourselves as being amongst the best in the world. It is fitting that we launch this initiative at an airport that bears the name of Oliver Reginald Tambo. For many years, OR Tambo was the one South African who, even though he was not welcome to be in his own country, he was the one person who traveled the world to rally support for the struggle against apartheid. He carried South Africa's hopes across continents, but he also carried South Africa's message to the world. He took South Africa to the world. Today, through this new system that we are strengthening, the way in which the world comes to South Africa, his statue stands right there at this airport, welcoming visitors from every corner of the world. And today we honor that legacy, the O.R. Tambo legacy, that South Africa's welcome is not only warm, but also modern, it is also efficient, and it is amongst the best in the world. Today we are exploding into an era of being amongst the best in the world in the way that we receive visitors to our country. And many of you will know that as you travel to various other countries, the difficulties, the struggles, the anxiety that people have as you arrive at airports in other countries. And sometimes people even become afraid to go and visit certain countries because you fear how you're going to be received. And today, we are modernizing the way that we are going to receive visitors. The electronic travel authorization system will make travel to South Africa a lot easier. It will also make it faster and more predictable. I tested this with one of the travelers who we saw how quickly he was processed. It literally took just less than 1 minute, and the traveler was beaming with laughter, with joy, with a broad smile, because he had a sense that he had been received in a very respectful manner, in a very efficient manner to the country. And this system will encourage tourism. Minister de Lille will be the happiest minister in the cabinet today, much as Minister Schreiber thinks that he's the happiest. It is Minister de Lille who is the happiest, who's beaming with joy, because this is going to encourage tourists to come to South Africa. And it will also support trade. It will attract investment, because people who invest money want to know whether they are welcome as they travel to destinations where they want to go and invest their money. It will facilitate skills and knowledge exchange, and at the same time, it will strengthen the integrity of our borders and improve our ability to manage migration effectively. This reform reflects a simple but important truth. In the global economy, accessibility matters. Investors compare countries. They will compare how we compare with another country. And I always tell my colleagues on the cabinet that as we do anything, let's see how other countries operate. I always say, let's find out how other children play and see whether we are measuring up or whether we are better or worse. It is important that we do so, because that's what investors do, that's what travelers do. They want to see how best we stack up with others. Tourists do compare countries. Conference organizers also compare countries when they organize conferences, conferences are a big tourist attraction element, or process rather. They compare how South Africa measures to other countries. And students also compare countries. Highly skilled professionals also compare how other countries treat them. Every unnecessary delay, every cumbersome administrative process, and every avoidable obstacle encourage people to look somewhere else. People become very impatient. They always want ease of doing things. They want simplicity, and they want modernity. Now, our visa reform is therefore not simply an immigration reform. It is an economic reform. It is a reform that speaks to jobs. Yesterday, Stats SA released the latest quarterly labor force survey. The figures remind us that unemployment, especially among young people, remains the greatest challenge that is facing our nation. Every reform we undertake must ultimately answer one question, and that question is, will it help to create work? Will it expand opportunities for South Africans? The ETA answers that question with a resounding yes. More visitors mean more hotel bookings. More restaurants are then filled. More tour operators start their own businesses, and they're also able to employ others. It also means more flights. It also means more conferences, more exports, more investments, more opportunities for South Africans to earn an income and to build a better future. So what we are doing today here is not only about immigration, it is about the ease of doing business, enabling investments to come into our country. This initiative forms part of our broader program of the structural reforms that we have undertaken under Operation Vulindlela. When Operation Vulindlela was established in 2020, during the COVID era, we recognized that South Africa's low growth was not the result of one single problem. It was the result of the various constraints that had accumulated over many years. These constraints affected electricity, they affected telecommunications, they affected water infrastructure, they also affected the ease of just doing business in our country, and they affected our immigration system as well. And the immigration system was so archaic, so cumbersome, so difficult to maneuver, and it was not welcoming. And even business people kept telling us that we want to come to your country to invest, but your immigration system keeps us away. It does not allow our managers, our people, our experts to come into the country. Our response has therefore been quite comprehensive. We decided that we should introduce reforms in a number of areas that I have alluded to. And these are areas that were preventing the economic growth that we wanted to see. We have reformed our electricity market and unlocked unprecedented private investment in the generation of electricity. Well over 100 billion rand has now been invested in our country as a result of the reforms that we have introduced. And that has also lessened the burden on Eskom, because now there are other generators, and Eskom focuses on stabilizing its own generation plants, on enabling them to work better and efficiently without being subjected to continuous breakdowns that resulted in load shedding. We have modernized the telecommunications sector. That has enabled us to communicate a lot easier with 5G and so forth, and data centers are now being established in our country because we were able to modernize our telecom system. And a number of businesses are now operating just on that whole process of improved telecommunications. We are reforming our freight and rail and port system, enabling imports and exports of our goods to be a lot easier. We are strengthening water infrastructure. We're now focusing on the key problems that affect our people. And that has inspired quite a lot of hope and confidence in the minds and the hearts of our people, that we are addressing problems that affect them at a social level. But water is also an industrial enabler. It enables companies and industries to function. And now we are also modernizing the way people enter South Africa. We're also focusing on our local government. Now, these are not isolated reforms. Together, they are removing barriers to growth, to investment, and to job creation. They are making South Africa a more competitive economy. A competitive economy that, yes, will compare with other countries. More importantly, these reforms are demonstrating that meaningful reform is possible when government works with purpose, with urgency, and with partnership. The ETA system is also a central pillar of the Department of Home Affairs' ambition, or ambitious Home Affairs at Home vision. It represents a decisive shift towards what I would call a fully digital department that provides secure, efficient, accessible, and world-class public services. And Home Affairs is the one department that, through its work, literally faces the 62 million South Africans who live in our country, and also those who come into our country. The 10 million visitors who Minister de Lille said came to South Africa last year also go through a Home Affairs processing. Around the world, citizens increasingly judge governments by the quality of the services that they provide. People expect services that are digital because people have become digitally conscious themselves. They expect speed, they expect transparency, they expect reliability. That is the direction in which our country is now moving in. And the display of the ETA system begins to tell the story that we are embracing digitization. And through this system, eligible travelers will be able to apply online, as the minister was saying, from anywhere in the world without needing to visit a South African mission or visa processing center. Applications will be processed more quickly, decisions will be predictable, the experience of traveling to South Africa will be significantly improved. Many people want to come to South Africa. You know, the president of China was telling me that many Chinese want to come and tour South Africa. They want to come and visit here, see the beauty of our country, come and see our beaches, our game parks, and our cities and all that. But they are prevented by a very difficult and cumbersome visa system where in some cases they had to travel from various parts of China just to go to either Beijing or Shanghai to have their visas approved, and they would wait for weeks and sometimes months. Now, this answers that question. Now, this is a great advance on where we were before. And in many ways, this system was initially introduced when we hosted the G20. And Minister Schreiber was saying to me, this is a legacy of the G20, the very successful G20 that we held. This has spawned this system that we now have, because during the G20, we were able to process thousands and thousands of people who came to South Africa to attend the G20 over a 12-month period to attend a variety of meetings. Now, this is what it has yielded. We were able to make sure that people who came from specific countries, such as China, India, and Indonesia, were well processed. We are now preparing to expand this system to additional countries, and we will. Over time, digital processing will extend beyond visitor authorizations to include work visas, to include study visas, and other immigration services. This marks the beginning of a much broader transformation, and we will make travel easier, and we will also recognize the legitimate concerns of South Africans regarding border security, illegal immigration, and compliance with our laws. Let me therefore be absolutely clear. A modern immigration system is not a weaker immigration system. It is a smarter immigration system. Technology allows us to know more about travelers before they arrive rather than after they are here. It will enable us to have stronger biometric verification. And as the minister was telling me, today with this system, the migration process is no longer dependent so much on a passport. It is now dependent on your face. With a pretty face like mine, I'll be able to have greater access. Even if you don't have a pretty face like mine, you will still be able to have easier ways of access. So it strengthens identity management, it improves risk assessment, and it enhances border security. Some of the challenges that we have had, which many South Africans have articulated, with people just thronging into our country, this system, as it will be rolled out throughout the country to our border posts, will now be able to manage and stop that. It helps us identify those who seek also to abuse our immigration system while making lawful travel faster and a lot easier. The ETA, therefore, strengthens both economic openness as well as national security. This is fully aligned with our government's comprehensive approach to migration management. So through this, we are strengthening enforcement of immigration as well as labor laws. We are improving border management. We are modernizing legislation and policy. We are deepening cooperation with countries across our region and continent. And through the revised white paper on citizenship, immigration and refugee protection, we are building a migration system that serves both our developmental objectives and our national security interests. So the success of this initiative depends on partnership. It requires the Department of Home Affairs, the Border Management Authority, the South African Revenue Service, the Department of Tourism, the South African Police Service, the aviation industry, our diplomatic missions, that is DERCO, technology partners, and the private sector to work together as one. Our borders are not merely points of entry. They are strategic national assets. They are where security, trade, tourism, logistics, and economic development all come together. And they demand that government functions as one integrated system. And this is where we break down the silo system of operating. We now unite all government disciplines and processes. Now, today's launch is therefore about much more than technology. It is evidence that South Africa is capable of reform. We are capable of modernizing processes. Too often there is a perception that governments cannot change, they are too slow, they are too bureaucratic, and they are inefficient. And today we demonstrate that we can change, we can reform, we can move faster, we can be technology-driven, and we can modernize. It shows that when government sets clear goals, embraces innovation, strengthens accountability, and works in partnership with business and society, meaningful change is possible. That should give confidence to every South African that our program of reform is beginning to deliver real and measurable progress. And I therefore wish to commend the Department of Home Affairs, the officials, the Minister, the Deputy Minister, Director General, and the leadership and staff of the Department of Home Affairs, the Border Management Authority, and all participating departments of the government, and also our technology partners who are here, and every stakeholder who has contributed to bringing this important reform to life. So I thank you and I commend you for all the work and the hours that you have put in. You have demonstrated what can be achieved through dedication, through innovation, and through collaboration. So ladies and gentlemen, today's launch is much more than just about visas. It is about how we can enable our country to move forward. It is about building a South Africa that welcomes the world with confidence, welcome the world efficiently, and welcomes the world knowing that our security and our sovereignty is intact. A South Africa that attracts investment, a South Africa that embraces innovation, and a South Africa that protects its borders while opening its doors to lawful travelers to our country. And it is a South Africa whose public institutions are demonstrating that they can be efficient, they can be modern, and they can be responsive. Now, this is the country that we are building, working together to build a country that shows elements of great efficiency and success. That we are a country that understands that economic growth requires both openness and security. That South Africa is determined to compete with the best in the world, and even go beyond competing, show the rest of the world what we are capable of so that they can come and learn from us. Above all, that we are a country that is committed to creating jobs, expanding opportunity, and improving the lives of its own people. So let this launch of the ETA be remembered not simply as the introduction of a new digital system, but as another important milestone in our country's journey towards becoming a more modern and capable and competitive state. So it is therefore my honor and privilege to officially launch South Africa's electronic travel authorization. So I thank you.
Your Excellency. Once more, thank you very much, Mr. President. The good thing about the ETA, it's our homegrown solution. It's been the young people at SARS, Ripe and others, supported by Carl, supported by Marius, Barry, Leon, Elise, Michelle, Chunyiswa, David. These are young people and elderly people that have really been at the forefront of this homegrown technology. So thank you very much for the keynote address, Mr. President. And thank you very much, Minister, for the remarks. And as the Minister has indicated, for countries that will be onboarded, it will be good that you continue to check both the DHA website, the BMA website, and of course, the Department of Tourism website, Minister Delil. So it is now my singular honor to then invite the Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, DM Jabulo Nzuza, to deliver the vote of thanks.
No, thank you very much, Program Director, His Excellency, President Ramaphosa, the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Leon Schreiber, the Minister of Tourism, who's here with us today, the DG, the BMA Commissioner, Dr. Masiapato, the commissioners from the South African Revenue Services. We really appreciate your presence here today. The members of the Portfolio Committee of Home Affairs, I saw the whip of the Portfolio Committee, Malebo, and I also saw the member of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Ross, leaders from various government institutions, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I must say, Mr. President, that what we have achieved today is about recognizing that in a modern and global connected economy, our borders must protect our country whilst also enabling legitimate movement of people. They must be able to be secured, but they must also be efficient. They must manage risk without creating unnecessary barriers for those who come to South Africa to invest, to do business, to study, to visit family, and to experience our beautiful country. I have been given a very simple task here today to do a vote of thanks, and I'm going to do exactly that. So allow me, Mr. President, to firstly pass my thanks and congratulations to Dr. Leon Schreiber for his stellar leadership in driving our digital transformation agenda in the department. Minister Delil, we really appreciate you. We know that you are the one who's going to be marketing the platforms that we are building so that they attract more people and more people use these particular platforms, because if people do not use the platforms, then they are not useful. Also, allow me to thank the technical teams under the leadership of the DG, as well as the BMA Commissioner. They have really done a stellar work in production of this technology. And indeed, it is South African produced technology. We'd like to thank Ntate Veteran Mavuso, the chair of the Immigration Board. We really appreciate you. You will remember, Mr. President, that where we are today, it started with the Operation Vulindlela team. And I must confess today, at some point I will get irritated when they will call us to long meetings in the office where they will tell us, do this, fix this, don't fix this. We really appreciate you, and I think we must give him a round of applause for the work that they've really done. The government institutions that have really partnered with us in working on this, the South African Revenue Services, and other departments that have really been a cornerstone in producing this. This is part of display of what government that works together can achieve. We are aware that we are building towards a digital ID that will unlock quite a number of things, and that we are doing working together with the South African Revenue Services. Mr. President, allow me to conclude by saying that may the success of the ETA be measured not only because of the technological advancement it brings, but by opportunities it creates, by the number of investors who find a home here in South Africa, business partnerships that are formed, and the jobs and economic activity that follows. I thank you.
Thank you very much, DM. At this point, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank you, Mr. President, Ministers, DM, Commissioner of the BMA, and the entire team, senior management from SARS, senior management from AXA, and of course our other partners. Let me take this opportunity, Mr. President, Minister, to thank the Program Director for ensuring that we conclude this program on time. There are really two announcements. The first one will all rise for the President and the Minister to leave, and then of course the other dignitaries will then proceed to the Media Center for lunch. You can follow Ndileka from our communications team. So let's all rise, and thank you very much. Staying.